At the concert, the bass rattled my chest and the crowd swayed like one massive organism, but all I could hear was the sound of her laughter. Emily, my wife, my partner for 7 years. She was perched on someone else's shoulders, laughing, shouting, completely alive in a way that had nothing to do with me. "You're taller. Way better than my boyfriend," she yelled, and the world narrowed until I could only see them. The crowd around me cheered, oblivious, as if celebrating my own erasure. I stood frozen, the cold sting of disbelief mixing with heat in my chest. I wanted to step forward, to shake her, to demand what the hell she thought she was doing, but my legs refused to obey. I could feel the eyes of strangers brushing past me, the rhythm of the music mocking the pulse of my anger. I swallowed hard, tried to convince myself I was overreacting. Maybe it was just one careless moment, one drunken joke, but my gut told me otherwise. Something had shifted. We had been happy, or so I thought. Emily and I had navigated life together, with that rare combination of comfort and excitement. We celebrated our victories, weathered disappointments, and understood each other in ways most couples only dream of. I knew her moods, her little quirks, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. And yet, here she was, her entire world momentarily eclipsing me, with a man I had never met before tonight. I left without a word. My glass slipped from my fingers, shattering against the concrete floor, fragments cutting into the warmth of my hands. I walked out into the night air, sharp and biting, and let the noise of the city drown out my thoughts. Every street lamp seemed to spotlight my humiliation, and the echoes of her laughter followed me like a cruel soundtrack. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I just walked, letting the night carry the rage and the hurt that I couldn't yet name. The next morning, the apartment felt hollow. Emily was sprawled on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling with an ease that made my stomach twist. She looked up at me, sleepy and innocent, and said, "Morning. You okay?" The casualness in her tone, the simplicity of the greeting, was almost unbearable. Almost. "I saw you last night," I said finally, the words tasting bitter. "At the concert." She blinked. "Oh, yeah." Her voice was nonchalant, but her fingers froze over the screen. "It was nothing. Just fun. Fun." The word cut through the room, sharp and precise. "You were on someone else's shoulders, cheering him over me. Do you realize what that felt like?" Her eyes widened slightly. A flicker of guilt, or was it fear, passing across her face. "Alex, it wasn't like that. He's just a friend." "I don't care if he's a friend." I snapped, though part of me longed to stay calm, to reason through this. "I care that you put yourself there publicly and treated me like I didn't even exist." The silence stretched between us, a thick fog of tension. Her excuses hung limp in the air, unable to fill the void of trust that had cracked overnight. I wanted answers. I needed them, and I hated the way my mind raced, pulling at every past detail, every unexplained text, every secret smile she had once shared with someone else. Over the next few days, I found myself observing her in a way I had never done before. The way her phone buzzed a little too often, the sudden defensiveness when I asked a simple question, the late-night whispers she quickly silenced when I entered the room. I was careful, meticulous, trying not to betray the storm inside me while gathering proof, while confirming the creeping suspicion that had lodged itself in my chest. It was in her bag one evening, the subtle weight of the foreign object pressed against my intuition, that I found it, men's protection, hidden behind receipts and hair ties. I stared at it for an eternity, a slow, torturous confirmation of what I had long feared. The betrayal wasn't just one careless night at a concert. It had been ongoing, threaded through moments I had trusted implicitly, the intimacy I had offered without hesitation. I confronted her that night. The apartment felt smaller, suffocating. Her eyes filled with panic, then shame, and I could see the struggle inside her, between confession and defense, between honesty and self-preservation. "Emily, why?" My voice cracked. The simple question carrying the weight of every sleepless night and every fractured memory of trust. She looked down, trembling. I didn't mean for it to happen like this." Not mean for it to happen like this. I echoed, my chest tightening, vision narrowing. You didn't just fall at a concert. You've been hiding it. Hiding everything. How long? She couldn't answer. Her silence spoke louder than words, echoing through the apartment like the empty void that had grown between us. I felt rage, sorrow, disbelief, and love, all tangled into one unbearable knot that left me breathless. Days passed in a blur of confrontation and avoidance. Every conversation was a minefield. Every glance a reminder of what had been lost. I kept thinking about the concert, about the cheering, about the moment I had walked out and let the world witness my own erasure. And yet, despite it all, a part of me still ached for her, still wanted to understand, still hoped for a version of us that could survive this. It was that night, alone in the apartment, that I realized something else. Betrayal isn't just about the act. It's about the erosion of the foundation you once stood on. It's the quiet moments, the hidden smiles, the whispered lies. And what I had lost wasn't just a wife's fidelity. It was the trust that had been the core of our shared life. Without it, there could be no us, not the way we had known it. The morning after our final confrontation, Emily woke to find the apartment nearly empty. Her belongings still lay scattered, a few essential items packed in hastily closed boxes. I stood by the doorway, suitcase in hand, my voice calm but resolute. This isn't just about last night or last week, I said. It's about everything. I can't rebuild something that's been broken like this. You made your choices, and I have to make mine. She froze, her eyes wide, a mixture of shock, regret, and dawning realization. Alex, please, I shook my head. No, this is over. As I walked out, the early morning light spilling into the quiet apartment, I felt the weight of heartbreak settle into my bones. But beneath it, there was a strange clarity. Betrayal had torn us apart, yes, but it also revealed the truth. The truth that love without trust is just an echo, a memory that can't be lived in reality. Emily never tried to stop me. She watched as I carried our shared life into a future that no longer included her. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something like peace. It was raw, it was painful, but it was mine. The concert, the laughter, the betrayal, it all belonged to the past now. I had survived it, and in surviving, I had reclaimed something she could never take away, myself.